Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just gone down to Bitcoin. But the CoinsKid crew, so the liquidity dance indicator I've created for yourselves is spiking up right now, which is always a nice little precursor to a pump in the crypto markets. So we're seeing that. And again, there's no guarantees that we'll see this pump, but the fact that we're seeing that right now, an indicator I created for yourselves, is showing that liquidity is spiking. And typically when we see this, the liquidity re-enters the market and we see a pump for Bitcoin. So at the moment we are pushing into the buy warning zone on the micro time frame for Bitcoin. It's only the other day that this particular indicator created for the CoinsKid crew was pushing into the red sell zone, and right now we're seeing this pullback on Bitcoin. But at the moment everyone thinks we're in a bear market, but I don't see anything at the moment structurally for Bitcoin that is jumping up and down and saying, okay, bear market, bear market. At the moment I actually think with Bitcoin, and nobody's looking at this, I think we've been in a correction since December. This eye here, I think we've had a wave down, wave up, and right now it's your C wave, which is possibly completed. We've had a leading diagonal wave 1. Right now we're in a wave 2, coming back, and then boom, we should break out to the upside to roughly $103. $103? I wish. $103,000 at a minimal because of a clue in the charts, which I'm about to show you, okay? So technically, is there anything else that's giving us a warning to this particular pump that may be about to occur in the crypto markets? So like I've always taught you, whenever you're looking for longs, look for fear. Whenever you're looking for shorts, look for greed. And this is why I've created this micro greed level for you, because if we take a look at an indicator created for the CoinsKid crew, I released this a couple of days ago. It's called the Ultimate Fear and Greed Index. This is really good at finding peaks and troughs for Bitcoin. Let me show you, okay? So taking a quick look at the Ultimate Fear and Greed Index before getting the Bitcoin chart with you. You know, Ultimate Fear and Greed Index, how does it work? Sentiment for trading crypto on the micro and macro timeframes. There is actually a little tutorial there on how to use it and what you need to look for and strategies to use in this particular index. It's a little bit more detail right there. So the middle line is your micro time frame. It's good at finding peaks and troughs, okay? You know, you can clearly see that the macro fear and greed is not necessarily that good at finding peaks and troughs on the micro time frame. It's more of a macro indicator, fear and greed index. So just there, it got really, quite a lot of greed in the market, 78, and we saw on that peak there, the micro got to 75. So basically creating a high there and a higher high, but a high and a lower high, and you're creating a divergence just there, okay? So basically on the micro, nice little divergence, and it's led to this pullback. And again, your peak just there, beautiful. So again, you've got a high there and then a higher high, but a lower high in the micro. So again, you're creating another bearish divergence. So this is what I like to trade. I like to trade bearish and bullish divergences, and the tutorial on how to do that is in there, okay, and what you need to look for. So it's really good at finding peaks and troughs. Peak there, roll over, peak there, roll over, trough just there, comes back up, trough just there, comes back up, trough just there, comes back up. So whenever it goes dark red, it's not the time to buy Bitcoin. Whenever it goes dark green, that's the time to buy Bitcoin, okay? Even if it's a retracement, come back up or whatever, it's just always a little opportunity to ride the peaks and troughs and the waves that Bitcoin goes through. So right now what we've got is another little peak just there, and then a few days later Bitcoin come back up, creating a bearish divergence, boom, you've come back down the stairs here for Bitcoin. So I think, and there's no bias here, I think we may have seen the bottom on March the 11th here for Bitcoin, okay? I think what we've done, we've got some kind of big irregular ABC, and we've actually bottomed there, and the fear within the market, and what we've got is a divergence on a bigger time frame. If you take a look at this pivot low at $80,359, the micro hit 15 on that day, okay, and the macro hit 16. So remember that, because if we go back to this high, we came back up, beautiful, oh no, it's going to zero, and then boom, we've got a nice divergence there. We made the high, made a higher high, and boom, we were dropping. So basically you're making divergence, and that's always a clue, okay? If you're seeing the divergence in the micro where you're making your peak just like you did here, and then you're making a high peak, boom, you're getting divergence. You should be looking for shorts on that divergence basically. So you've come down the stairs, and what we've got from this pivot low here where we hit 15 and 16, we go back to this time here on March 11th, we actually made a new low here for Bitcoin. So we hit $80,359, then we hit 76,642. But in the divergence, what we saw is the micro hit 28 and the macro hit 24. So we've got a whopping divergence just there, which has led to this pump. So this may actually be a wave 1 impulsive move, okay, a leading diagonal. I'm going to zoom in on the charts with you in a moment. Maybe a leading diagonal. We've seen this pump just there, and like I said to you, look, here's your peak earlier in the week where the micro hit 82. Then we sort of a few days later we was creating lower highs in the micro, but the price action was actually creating a higher high. So we've got 86,649, and we've got 87,171, and then pretty much since then we've been rolling back. So the divergence in the micro was telling you it was going to come back, okay, a short opportunity was revealing itself just like that micro top there, that micro top there, and that micro top there, and that micro top there. So this is why I've called it the Ultimate Fear and Greed Index, and this is how you use it to trade, and the tutorial is in here basically. Greater description. So basically what we're looking at right now, we're coming back. You know, what I'm looking for is a divergence at the bottom. So if we do start to see basically a bottom just there, okay, where we, you know, you got this peak down here and then you go sideways and then you're making a lower peak, then okay, you've got a divergence within itself and you've gone dark green on the micro, and I think that could actually offer an opportunity. So we've got to be patient for that over the next sort of few days into the week. Just be patient. Let's not just pile into longs right now just because it's coming back and things like that. We've got to be patient. If this micro can reveal another signal, again, you've got a low, level low, but you've got a lower low, you've got divergence on the micro and obviously the price action. If we see that down here in this correction I think we're going through, we're possibly about a 1 and right now we're in a 2, looking to hold this structural low at 76,642, then we may be about to see a turnaround. So I will build a long position there. But equally, there's something else that I'm looking at right now in an indicator created for the CoinsKid crew called the liquidity dance that's doing something that we need to see if we are expecting a pump on Bitcoin. It's doing exactly what we need to see. Let me dive into that chart with you right now, okay? So we're seeing right now is a spike up on the liquidity dance, and this is actually good news at the moment anyway, but what we've got to see is a rollover in the liquidity dance, because if we see that, then Bitcoin will pump out, basically. It'll go to the upside, because this is typically what we see as an inverse correlation. So how does the liquidity dance work? I did release this a few weeks ago. I did give you a detailed, you know, video analysis on how to use this particular indicator, and again, you can drop this into your trading view charts by going to the indicator section, go to liquidity dance and drop it into your trading view charts, or you can use the on-site liquidity dance indicator on CoinsKid.com. So really simple. A sharp drop in liquidity dance after a spike signals cash re-entering the system and encouraging investment. So whenever you see a spike up, you will see Bitcoin, you know, come back up the stairs, spike up, come back up the stairs, spike up, come back up the stairs, spike up, come back up the stairs, so on and so forth. So an inverse correlation exists at the moment, okay, and obviously I'm looking for that to be broken. At the moment it's not, so I'm just respecting it. So basically a spike up is actually a good sign, because, you know, if you're seeing a spike up, once it starts to roll back like it did there, like it did there, like it did there, like it did there, there and there, and so on and so forth, this is typically where you start to see a move up in Bitcoin. So keep an eye on this. If this does begin to roll over in the next few weeks and comes back down and makes a new low here, Bitcoin may be about to go vertical into the, you know, April and May, where I do intend to sell and go away, because that will be your final fifth wave to the upside for me. So I'm looking for the liquidity dance to enter a whopping uptrend. So if we zoom out right now, you can clearly see this white line in an uptrend means Bitcoin is in a downtrend. This white line in a downtrend means Bitcoin is in an uptrend. So I'm looking for this white line to enter an uptrend like it did there. Okay, when you start coming up making higher highs and higher lows, Bitcoin's coming down the stairs, and there's no avoiding that, okay, because liquidity is obviously being withdrawn from risk on a daily basis, and this is what this is an indicator based on daily liquidity reporting. Okay, so I've created this indicator for you. You can get on CoinsKid.com or TradingView. Let's dive into the Bitcoin chart right now to see what we can see. Okay, looking at Bitcoin on the 4-hourly time frame, the reason I'm looking at 103k, if you take a look at this double top drop just there that was formed, I think it was way back in January. If I drop a level of resistance just there, you see this God candle breakout just there where we melted. Okay, look at this one. So you broke down and eventually come back into it to retest the resistance for a drop. So I do think we will see Bitcoin trading at $103,835 at some point. Whether or not it goes lower and comes back up, time will tell. But, you know, that's a God candle breakdown just there. Double top drop. We've not back tested that as resistance. So that's on my radar. If it was to pump, okay, to the upside, I think we'd see resistance there. I think with, you know, a potential swing up or a short up in the future is that double top drop there where we melted through a God candle, okay, and we've traded many of these over the years. When you break down, you know, you look to the top and you will see these resistance retests. For example, just there, you melted through the support, eventually come back up into it, got resistance, came back, made a high low, and right now structurally from this low here, technically we are making higher highs and higher lows for Bitcoin, and we've done it in 5 waves. So this could be a leading impulsive wave 1, where basically we've got 1, ABC 2, this is a 3, 4, 5. So we've got some kind of expanded flat, and what we've got is some kind of rising wedge right now, like this, a rising channel, where Bitcoin's beginning to break down. So we're rolling over like this, and this overlapping nature of this pullback is corrective, not necessarily impulsive. So this may be a leading impulsive wave 1, and then you start to come back like this for Bitcoin. Oh no, it's going to 0, then eventually turn around and come back up the stairs like that. And what you've got is some kind of Adam and Eve bottom. There's your Adam, there's your Eve, back test, go, and then you're up there 103k. So I know everyone and the dog is waiting for Bitcoin to collapse here, and I think they've got bids on 60k. I've seen 70k thrown around, 72k, so on and so forth. If we do go again, and I'm completely wrong in this analysis that is the bottom, and we've seen a leading diagonal impulsive wave 1 here for Bitcoin, you know, and it starts to do something like that and it loses its low here, then I do think we'll see a bounce at 73 827. But in the future, I do anticipate that we will see this price tag for Bitcoin because of this simple double top drop where we've melted through this support without backtesting resistance. And we trade this all the time on the channel, okay? So whether or not, you know, it's a bearish retrace for continuation to the downside, whatever, it's just a trade that's in front of us in the future. So keep an eye on the liquidity dance, because if we see a drop in that, you know, at the minute we're spiking, if we do see a drop in that, that would be a clue to, you know, a major move up for Bitcoin right there. So possibly this is an impulsive wave one, and right now we're retracing this move. So from that high there to the bottom, we are simply retracing at the moment because we've seen 5 waves up, okay? Although they're overlapping, this is possibly some kind of leading diagonal. So from here, we're retracing. So at the moment, you can clearly see we've found a little bit of support on the 236, a little bit of a bounce, and then we've pushed through. So I don't necessarily think this correction's finished. I will be looking to ladder bids for Bitcoin in this zone here, the golden ratio, the 7 and the 786, and just put your stops on the 1 fib. If you get stopped out, it's unlucky, it's trading, this is what it is. But right there, if you get lucky enough to get some bids in on the 786 at 79115, you're looking at a very minimal loss of 3%, okay? And this is trading. Now, we did trade a very similar pattern at the bottom, for anyone that remembers, in 2022. It was down here. So basically this bottom here, we come down a 1 2 3 4 5, look at that, beautiful, and we've got the bottom here, and we came up in a 1, in a 2, in a 3, in a 4, and a 5. Again, a beautiful impulsive move to the upside, and it was a leading diagonal because this wave 4 correction came back below the high of wave 1. And I remember trading this with you. It was an Adam and Eve bottom, just like what we're looking at now. So basically like this, okay, from the bottom you come up in 5, 1 2 3 4 5, then you retrace the move, you're coming back, oh no, it's going to 0, but you held the low, and this is where we had our stops, and then boom, it broke out in a beautiful Adam and Eve bottom reversal pattern. And that was in late 2022. We traded that pattern at the bottom of a correction. It's called an Adam and Eve, and this is what I'm targeting right now, okay, against a blood, fear and depression. If Bitcoin right now can reverse, and you've got your 1 2 3 4 5, you come back and you hold the bottom, you get a reversal, break out this 0 fib, I think we're up here at 103k. So we'll be patient, okay, because obviously I've not got a crystal ball, can't guarantee what's going to happen. It is trading the ranges, but we've just got to kick back, relax. At the moment, we have seen a 5-wave move, which is possibly impulsive. So from here, we're retracing the move. These are your levels, okay, 0618 81114 and 0780 132 and the 786 at 79115. If we get some bids laddered on Blowfin right now with your stop loss on the 1 fib, this could be a beautiful little trade, because if we get a bid filled on the 786 and it holds the 1 fib, the next move up could be a nice little 30% move for Bitcoin. That's a beautiful trade. If you are looking to trade Bitcoin, don't be an over leveraged degen, don't go on your life savings. I would highly recommend Bybit and Blowfin. The links are in the video description right there. Take care everyone, back to a new update on Bitcoin. Bye bye.